Boker Tov.
I just have to say, got it. Today we're returning, as we heard about Psalm 27 the other day from Roberta. Am I correct? Roberta, who gave the teaching on Psalm 27? Yes. So we're returning to it because in some traditions, the conservative movement, Orthodox, the people would be saying Psalm 27 twice a day, from the beginning of Elul through Shemini Atzeret, in the morning prayers and in the afternoon prayers. So it really is considered the foremost prayer of Elul, of preparation for the holidays. I'm going to skip down to the, actually, before I skip down, we'll put that up in a minute. I'm going to play for you a version. This isn't Deb Friedman singing, but it is someone at a memorial service for Debbie Friedman singing, "Don't Hide Your Face from Me." Can you just put up the words, Karen?
Don't hide your face from me. I'm asking for your help. I call to you, please hear my prayer, oh God. If you would answer me, as I have called to you, please hear me now. Don't hide your face from me. Don't hide your face from me. I'm asking for your help. I call to you, please hear my prayers, oh God. If you would answer me, as I have called to you, please hear me now. Don't hide your face from me. Don't hide your face from me. I'm asking for your help. I call to you, please hear my prayers, oh God. If you would answer me, as I have called to you, please hear me now. Don't hide your face from me. If you would answer me, as I have called to you, please hear me now. Don't hide your face from me. Please hear me now. Don't hide your face from me.
Oops. Uh-oh, I don't know how to turn this off. Okay. So what's really interesting to me in the way that Debbie Friedman composed that is that the last line, she says, "Please heal me now." Actually, when we look at the prayer, it's "hear me." It's begging God to hear me. And Deb's so much of her work was about healing for the world, for the planet, but especially for herself. She was fighting so many obstacles in her life because of her health. And so she used the word, "Please heal me now." It could have been "hear me now." It would have fit in perfectly well as well. And it's one of the beautiful things about Psalms that, for so long, they were the major form of people's prayers and petitions, singing them. I read a story in one book as I was working on this, The Healing Power of Psalms, in which the author says that Natan Sharansky, for the 9 years that he was in jail, in the Soviet Union at the time during the 80s, he had a book of Psalms, and he was so afraid that they it would be taken away from him that he memorized one psalm. And the one psalm that he memorized was Psalm 27, the Psalm of David that we're looking at today. And when he arrived on the tarmac at the airport in Israel, in his hand was that book of Psalms. As we heard the other day from Roberta, the beginning of this psalm is a lot about talking about, my foes and, protect me from them. And a lot of that is what's internal to us. But let's try to take ourselves back. Reb Zalman talks about in his Gate to the Heart, he talks about different levels of consciousness when we're in prayer. And he says that on all the different levels of consciousness, try to impose the awesome track of being in the presence of the infinite while the phantom body dances out the dance that belongs to the words. Further and deeper, over the intervening millennia, you're also David, hunted in the world, intended for a royal palace, and yearning only to make yourself present in God's sanctuary. So you're God's mouthpiece, as well as that of all your ancestors, who in so many different settings in the world have entered these words with fervor and longing. People for whom the Psalms were the language of dialogue with God. So Roberta had been talking about, the foes. And so those were the foes of David, but today we look more at our own foes. So what I'd like to do is, just while Karen is putting it on the screen, start thinking about what Deb was singing, Don't Hide Your Face from Me. And I'd like you, we're going to look at the actual psalm in Hebrew, and we're going to look at two translations of it. One that was from that book that I told you, The Healing Power of Psalms, and the other one, which is from the Sidur Sim Shalom. If you're a Hebrew speaker, take time to see how many times there's the word face, or some aspect of it, my face, your face, whatever. How many times do you read the word face? And if you're an English speaker, more native, or more than Hebrew, in each one, see how many times do you see the word face in each of these two different translations. Hey, you're cheating. You're using your cursor, Karen, to show everyone where they are. We'll let you do that. We'll ask you to do that in a minute. But first, if people can take a moment, in the first English one, where do you see face? Can someone read the lines that have face in the first English one, top left?
Yes, I can do that.
Go ahead, Joan.
Oh, I can read the Hebrew if you'd like.
No, on the top left English translation.
All right.
Can someone read where you see the word face?
It is your presence I seek, O Lord. Presence.
Right, it's presence. The face is translated as presence. Thank you. And what about, this is the same psalm. This is Psalm 27, these 6 lines. Where do you see it in this translation on the bottom left? Who'd like to read that? Just raise your hand or just start reading.
Oh Lord, I seek your face. Seek my face, it says first. Seek my face. Oh Lord, I seek your face. Do not hide your face from me.
Right, 3 times. Okay, and in the Hebrew, does someone want to read those three lines where it has face?
I volunteered to do that. And so it says, Lo amar libi bakshu panai, et panecha Adonai avakesh, al taster panecha mimeni.
Right, I'll just go over that. Lacha amar libi bakshu panai. So that means, to you I say, my heart. To you my heart says, I ask for your face.
Bakshu is from mevakesh, to ask, yeah.
Right. Et panecha Adonai evakesh. Your face, et panecha, your face, God, Adonai, I ask. Al taster panecha mimeni. Don't hide. That's the lines of the title of the song. Al taster. Now, taster is, do you hear the sound of Esther in the word? Taster,
Yeah.
Esther. Okay, so Esther's name, as we know from the Megillah, is all about hiding. Al taster panecha, your face, mimeni, from me. Okay, what I love about the psalm is that it starts going back to the top line. Shema Adonai. I mean, we usually don't hear Shema Adonai, we hear Shema Yisrael. Shema Adonai, Koli Evakesh. Again, is asking, my voice is asking, V'chaneni v'aneni. V'chaneni, be gracious to me and answer me. Okay, it's just so beautiful. The words in Hebrew, as I was reading this and going over and studying it, I was thinking about that the rabbi from Israel, when he was doing his tryouts to come here, you know, we had a wonderful teaching on, is it important to know Hebrew, to pray in Hebrew, to be able to read Hebrew or English, or what's the difference? And I really feel that in these Psalms, it's so wonderful to be able to grapple with the Hebrew, because they're poems. And as what Gail just said, in the top left, there's no word for face, but it's your presence. And that is how face is being translated. I'm just going to read through again. Shema Adonai, Koli Evakesh, V'chaneni v'aneni, L'cha amar libi, Bakshu panai, Et panecha Adonai Evakesh, Al taster panecha mimeni. Okay, and we're just going to work on those 4 lines in the interest of time. Shir Yaakov, Rabbi Shir, rather, he has his own translation. During the beginning of the pandemic, he started writing his own song for each psalm. So this is from April of 2020. And the way he translated is, I'm going to read the whole thing, but what he does is he takes these 3 lines, but then he goes back to what Roberta read the other day. You know, all I want is to be in the house. One thing I ask is to be in the house all the days of my life. So he says, I remember your face. You left an indelible trace. Deep in my heart, you will never depart, gracing my inner space. Stay with me every day of my life, dawn, noon, dusk, and night. And if you want to look for that, just look for a psalm a day, Rabbi Shir, and it's under Psalms 27 to 29. So I'm just so interested, because I love music and I love language. And we always know that in any translation, there's an interpretation. So I want us to think, you know, for ourselves for a little bit, as we're listening to the song or as we're reading these lines, how do we conceive of this ongoing, not a problem, but this ongoing conundrum of, you know, in the Jewish religion, we have, you know, Moses saying, I must see your face, I must see your face. And God says, get up on the rock, you know, get into that crevice. You can't see my face, you die, but as I pass, you'll see my back. And then on the other hand, you have the God and Moses face to face, or you have all the elders sitting face to face with God, or you have our prayer, our most ancient blessing. May God cause his face to shine upon you. When you think of face, does anyone just want to share? Do you think of presence? Do you project some kind of visual onto God? Does anyone want to share how it is that they have dealt with this question of the face of God? Yes, Joan.
I'll say the first image that jumps to me is that moment when Moses encounters God and he says, you shall not see my face, and he makes him turn around. And it's such a a big mystery. When I flash on some anthropomorphic image, I immediately try to go there so that I realize I can't see that face. And the mystery of it allows a little more freedom, but also frustration. And I think that, just to tag on to that, I've, for a very long time since I was young, had issues with my face, how I look. I was raised feeling uncomfortable about my looks, and my parents made me self-conscious about my nose, believe it or not. My mother asked me at 16, don't you want a nose job? And she actually touched my nose. We were looking in the mirror. She set me up and said, wouldn't you like it better if, and I think that set me up so badly. So the issues of hearing that word face are very complicated for me. And I believe the face is what you present to people and how people interact with you predominantly, like initially. So I want to rescue that and be with face in a positive way.
And maybe remind your mother, that we were all made in the image of God. Does anyone else want to respond to that? What is it when you read,
Yes.
Yes, go ahead. Abigail.
Yes. The face is our identity, and so much of our face conveys what's inside us. And connected to the word panim is panimut, which is inwardness. So what's really deep inside us, the inner teaching, is what's the panemius or panimut, is the inward teaching, what's deep inside, what's hidden.
Yes, that's beautiful. The word panim, actually face, it's a plural word, panim, as if, the two parts of your face, but then it's panai is my face, panecha, your face. And it has so many meanings, corner, interior. And so what you said is just that beautiful sense of what is coming out, what you can express. It really is unusual in the line, L'cha amar libi bakshu penai. On your account, my heart, on your account, my heart asks to see my face, to see my face, so that's an amazing turn that kind of talks about, to me, it reminds us of that dialogue of the face to face that Moses always sought, with God. And I just want to end by, Karen will put this in the chat, but this wonderful book by Rabbi Arthur Green, which is called Seek My Face, Speak My Name. And he has 2 chapters which really focus on face to face. And I just want to read it because I can't say it better. Actually, Reb Pauline said it so wonderfully in the tape that we have of her yesterday. She said, we have a face-to-face agreement that we have the potential to be holy. I think those were her ending words. And the way Rabbi Green puts it, to be a religious Jew is to walk the tightrope between knowing the invisibility of God and seeing the face of God everywhere. Yud Hey Vav Hey is but a breath, utterly without form, the essence of abstraction itself. And yet, that same abstraction is the face of God that, quote, peers out from the windows, peeks through the latticework, unquote. That face contains within it all the faces of humanity, and each of them contains the face of God.
Wow.
Thank you for listening and sharing. I appreciate everyone who shared, especially.
This was fascinating, Meg, and worth, several hours of sharing and talking.
Yeah.
This was really, really good. And really, I'm serious. This would be a great something to do at High Holy Days on the second day.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I've already prepared my my 15-minute shtickle for next year, because there's so many other lines of Psalm 27, which
Wow.
is so, because it's I'll give you a preview. It's earlier, between what Roberta shared and what I shared, the word taster, hide, is used to say, hide me from my enemies. Hide, it's used twice. And then it's turned around and said, don't hide from me. So it's very interesting. It's just a fabulous psalm. And I think that Psalm 27, like many of the Psalms, are worth
Arthur Green
a class about.
quotes.
That's what I vote for. But, perhaps I'll talk and see if on day 2 they'd like some teaching on this.
Well, yeah. I mean, for me, because I've really been struggling with this the last several months of what do I mean by faith? What the hell am I praying to? Okay. It's a big, serious, like spiritual crisis. And
Right. Do you know the book by Art Green?
I don't know if I know that one. I'm gonna look it up. Yeah.
Because I was really thinking of you, even though I didn't really include that much, because it's rather dense, but the whole psychology of religion and projection, and what that means. And he explicates, his thinking about it well. But it is, as I think about you, notice I asked other people to say what they meant by faith. That's my old teaching strategy. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, for
put
me,
a link.
we have to stop. So go ahead.
I just put a link in the chat to a SoundCloud I just found where Rabbi Arthur Green. It's about an hour and a half something. So I don't know if he's reading from the book or talking about it, but it might be
This is
a nice way to get a taste directly from him.
Gail, I missed what you said though, right at the end, just now.
Oh, I said I think we're out of time.
Oh, right. Okay. And so anyway, the titles of these 2 books, I think Karen said she'd put in the chat if anyone wants it. And again, thank you very much. It's wonderful to be with this group.
Thank you. Gratitude.
Thank you.
And who's blowing the shofar?
Can I put in a plug, personal plug, one personal plug? Several of you heard it already. I'm part of a show, the Women's Collective of the Hudson Valley. It's at the Lace Mill. It is one of the best photography shows that has ever appeared in the Hudson Valley. And it'll be on weekends until September 25th. And I strongly recommend you go. I would be recommending it whether or not I was in it. It's a really good show.
But if
Will
you
you
really
Will you repeat that or put it on the website or something? Repeat where the
go to the Lace Mill. Go to the Lace Mill on Saturday, the 17th at 3:00 when there's an artist reception, and we can really celebrate Gail. Okay, girls?
No, it's not about celebrating me. It's really, and if you,
I know.
I'm going to go another time when it's largely empty. So it's open from 12 to 5 weekends until the 25th.
Before we get too far out, we were going to hear the shofar, so if we could do that.
Okay.
Yes. I've got it.
Okay.
Whoops. Okay, give a second here.
Okay.
Thank you, Joan. Thank you, Meg. Couple of resources.